Have you ever found yourself shouldering the burdens of others while ignoring your own emotions? This behavior can be especially common among those with anxious attachment style, where the fear of losing close relationships often leads to prioritizing other people's needs over your own. And if you've ever been in situations where you put everyone else's needs ahead of your own, leaving you feeling neglected, you're not alone. Let's face it, this pattern can lead to internal turmoil and disconnection. Today, I want to highlight this common struggle and why it's time to shift your perspective. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to get caught up in fulfilling these obligations and meeting responsibilities. And for those with anxious attachment style, this drive to meet expectations can be even more pronounced. There's an underlying fear of abandonment and constant need for reassurance, often, translating into an overemphasis on being indispensable. But here's the catch. While you might master tackling tasks and responsibilities, are you truly in touch with how you feel about it? And are you recognizing the emotional cost of constantly putting others first? It's important to understand the root of anxious attachment to truly grasp the impact on your behavior. Anxious attachment often stems from early childhood experiences where inconsistent or unpredictable caregiving increase the sensitivity to your relationship cues. And this sensitivity carries over into our adulthood, manifesting as a relentless need for validation and this fear of abandonment. And these deep-seated fears can drive you to overextend yourself, taking on more and more responsibility and ignoring your emotional needs to secure the approval and stability in your relationships. It's easy to get wrapped up in being the reliable friend, the dependable partner, or the go-to family member. Your dedication to others is admirable, but your emotions matter too. In fact, those with anxious attachment, this pattern can be a coping mechanism to avoid confronting these deeper insecurities that we might have. But here's the thing, acknowledging your feelings doesn't diminish your strength, it actually enhances it. And by understanding and addressing these emotions, you can start to break free from these cycles of anxiety or overdependence. Neglecting your own emotions has this cumulative effect. And over time, these suppressed feelings can lead to increased anxiety, depression, and a particular sense of emptiness. When you continually prioritize others at the expense of your own well-being, you're telling yourself that your needs are not as important as other people's needs. And in the long run, this can erode your self-esteem and contribute to this chronic sense of inadequacy. This pattern can strain your relationships, as unaddressed emotional needs often surface in unhealthy ways, such as resentment or passive-aggressive behavior. And it's time to recognize that being vulnerable isn't a weakness. When you're vulnerable, you are honest about your feelings and your needs. And this honesty fosters deeper connection by inviting others to see you as you truly are rather than this fake facade that you might be presenting. Acknowledging your emotions can lead to a greater self-awareness and authentic connections with those people around you. For those with anxious attachment, this can be a really transformative realization because it shifts the focus from seeking constant reassurance to building genuine relationships based on trust and support. And the first step in this process is self-awareness. Taking the time to reflect on your emotional patterns and recognizing these triggers that lead you to neglect your feelings. Journaling can be a powerful tool as well, allowing you to track your emotions and identify any sort of recurring themes. And once you know these patterns, you can begin questioning them. Ask yourself why you feel the need to prioritize others over yourself. What fears are driving this behavior? Understanding the root cause can help you develop more balanced and healthy ways of actually interacting with those people around you. Next is self-compassion. And it's a critical component on this journey. It involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. When you make a mistake or feel overwhelmed, acknowledge your struggles instead of criticizing yourself, and offer yourself some comfort. This shift in perspective can reduce the anxiety that fuels your need to constantly prove your worth to others. By being gentle with yourself, you're creating a more nurturing internal environment, which can help you feel more secure and less dependent on this external validation. And we all know the pressure to conform and this stigma around expressing emotions can feel overwhelming. Challenging these requires courage and resilience. It means standing up against those ideas that your worth is solely defined by your ability to fulfill roles and meet expectations. It means advocating for your emotional needs and setting boundaries with those who dismiss or invalidate your feelings. This can be a difficult process, especially if you have internalized these messages for a long time. However, by doing so, you improve your well-being. You show that it's okay to be human. It's okay to have needs, and it's okay to express them. Remember, the journey towards a more fulfilling life begins with acknowledging your emotions. Suppose you've been struggling to strike some sort of balance between your responsibilities and your feelings. In that case, it's time to reevaluate and find your center. Remember, acknowledging your feelings doesn't diminish your strength, and I've said this before, it actually amplifies it. And for those with anxious attachment, this is not just a step towards emotional health, but a move towards a more secure and balanced way of relating to others. Here are some practical steps to help you achieve emotional balance. Number 1, set boundaries. Learn to say no when you need to. Setting boundaries is essential for protecting your emotional well-being. Communicate your needs clearly and assertively, and don't feel guilty for prioritizing your mental health. Number 2, challenge negative thoughts. Anxious attachment often involves negative thought patterns. Work on identifying and challenge these thoughts. Replace them with more positive and realistic perspectives. Number 3, celebrate progress. Acknowledge and celebrate your progress no matter how small. Every step you take towards an emotional balance is a victory and deserves recognition. Breaking free from the cycle of neglecting your emotions is a journey. It's all about recognizing your worth and building healthier relationships. Remember, your emotional well-being matters. By acknowledging and addressing your feelings, you can start creating more fulfilling life and have more balance. Embrace your journey, trust the process, and believe in your worth, because you deserve to feel seen, to feel heard, and to feel valued.